Hi, Dave Pavish here from the Mark Consulting. Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Live Talks podcast. Today, we get to sit down with President of Prostar Well Services and former NHL hockey player, Mr. Terry Bendera. We're in his boardroom right now, and we're about to go into his office to have an awesome discussion. Stay tuned. Before we get into talking about your career, I want to talk a little bit about you playing in the WHL, played for the Regina Pats, then got drafted by the New York Islanders. But unfortunately, early on in your career, you got hurt with a back and spine injury. How did it feel at that moment when you didn't really know what was going to happen next in your life, especially for being somebody that's always looking 5, 10, 20 years down into the future?
Yeah, that's a good question. For me, what I found is when I was, put in a situation where it's just another obstacle, right? As an athlete, you learn that injuries are part of the game, and that you got to play through things like that. You got to work through adversity, and through adversity, you're showing your character. That's what I was always taught, and that is a part of who I am. However, that was the first time where I seen that all my eggs in one basket may not be something that works so good. So I felt pretty fragile, and there was times where you go through a point of I know in the past it'd probably be considered a weakness, but I think that I maybe even felt a little bit of depression.
Yeah.
I put everything into what and I think as an athlete that's what you got to do if you're going to have a measure of success. That's what I was taught, that you put everything in. You got to give it your all. Otherwise, through my blue collar roots, my father would be the first to say that you got to give, or you got to work harder. That's what he knew what to do, and that's what he installed in me. But through my injury, it really helped forge a stronger me, a better me. It put me in a spot where I was allowed to step away from myself for a bit and say, what else do I have to offer life? And it was the first time in my life that I really looked at, I maybe have a bigger calling, that maybe hockey's not everything.
Yeah. What would your advice be for somebody that's facing obstacles right now and maybe is, looking right ahead and has a huge hurdle to have to overcome right now in their life?
I would say that my biggest advice would be to take a look at your perception. Step away from where you're at. A lot of people will face an obstacle head on or in the moment, and sometimes a little time. I've often told our team here that it's almost like a spaghetti sauce. You put in all these ingredients, and if you expect it to taste good the minute you put your spoon in there, well, you're wrong. It's got to blend. You got to give it a little time. It's got to percolate a little bit. And sometimes with an obstacle, most times with an obstacle, with obstacles in life, you find positive people like Mark, for instance. You would be one of those guys that looks at life with a positive outlook. And I think that every obstacle in life, you can come up with the pluses. You can say, you know what? Maybe this is the time where I get an opportunity to change this or an opportunity to change that. Our oil market right now would be a pretty indicative time of obstacle. There's a lot of people going through tough times here in Alberta, and rather than reacting to the tough times, I think that you need to look at the greater vision. Take a look at from 35,000 feet down and say, you know what? Here's an opportunity to fix this or fix that. Right the ship. Be better. And that's what I did with my hockey career, and that's what I do at our business now.
Well, you've obviously rebounded very well as you're the leader, the president of a multi-million-dollar corporation who brings in a new way to approach the oil sands market. You're safer, more environmentally friendly. Tell us a little bit about the technology that you guys bring in here.
Well, a lot of times people think that safer, more environmentally friendly kind of fluff items, and culturally our industry would say that those are kind of fluff items. Safer is not a fluff item. I mean, companies like Suncorp and Imperial and Synovus and Conoco, they believe that safety is paramount, and they walk the walk and talk the talk. Even in this environment where we're dealing with a $35 oil price, you'll see these companies adhere to those values. And we're no different here. I mean, we are safer. We are more environmentally friendly. But, in addition to that, you still got to make the numbers work. And with those being safer and more environmentally friendly, we also have found a way to increase production. So that is a big win, because what that really does is it puts us on a playing field that allows us to have wins for our client, wins for our business here, and gives us the opportunity to really change the culture of our industry.
Yeah, that's really exciting. It's nice to see, companies actually caring for the environment, especially big corporations like yourself. You're one of the first companies to bring this technology to Canada, correct?
To the world.
To the world. Wow,
Yes.
even better.
Yeah. So what we were faced with was an industry where well service rigs just had not really had a huge evolution. And part of that was due to the fact that, we in Alberta find ways to work with the equipment that we have. And I like that part of our industry, that, we can look at a problem and solve it and be solution based. And we are that here in Alberta. But the other part is that there wasn't really anybody that had the infrastructure or the courage to stand up and say, you know what? There's a better way to do things, and we know how to do it. I would say that the companies we work for now, in particularly Suncorp and Imperial, were the first ones, Suncorp being the first to step in and say, you know what, we have a huge responsibility and an opportunity to change this for the better, to have a safer workplace, a more environmentally friendly workplace, and still adhere to our production. What we found in that is when they went down that path is they actually increased production, got we found a better way to do things by sticking to our values of having a safer rig and a more environmentally friendly one.
That's really awesome. Especially, what was the motivating factor to that? Because I know a lot of people, money drives, usually, a lot of people think that money drives this industry. So what was the motivating factor to get in on more on the environmental side? And maybe, I know we spoke about this off camera, but give us a little bit of the misconceptions about the oil industry.
Well, okay, so to answer the motivation part, the motivation part for me came from when I was working the rigs, and I would say, my friends would say, hey, can you get a job for me, or can you help me get a job? And I would say, yeah, but always come with a clause. Like, you do know the industry, you know that it's dangerous. And for some, they would come anyways and say, guess what, I just need money, and I need money fast. And for others, the risk didn't equate to coming over to work in that environment. So I thought, geez, what a bad way to paint this industry. And me being a part of it, I've seen a lot of incredible people. The people of Alberta, I've traveled all over the world, and the people of Alberta are the nicest, loyal people, dedicated people, hardworking people. I mean, and really, help my resolve every time I come home from a hot location. I still want to come home to Edmonton and to Alberta because of the people. The unfortunate side of what we were doing in our industry before is that nobody ever approached our industry as a place where I can call this a career.
Okay.
It was a job. I could come in, I could make some money quick, and and move on.
Yeah.
And that was an unfortunate part. And when we took a look at this opportunity to work in oil sands, to answer the second part of your question, it's a misnomer, because what people don't understand is, in conventional oil in Alberta, you're looking at about 1.5 billion barrels oil and reserves. When I went into the oil sands market, the first time I was exposed to it, I thought what I was going to see is I thought I was going to see this land that was torn away and there were buckets taking sand, and the sand was, you're going to just stripping the land to extricate the oil. And when the reality is that makes up about 4% of the oil sands is actually mined that way. And the responsible companies are looking at ways to get out of that even. Whereas the way that they are doing it is a very responsible way, the most environmentally friendly way that I've seen, where it's called SAGD. And when you circle back to my motivation was to create an environment where it was safer for people to work in, and a stable market. The stable market portion for us was having a company with enough courage that would come in and sign a contract, a long-term contract. So we did that with Suncorp. We signed a 5-year deal with them. And with our 5-year deal, in the first year we were in business, we won the Suncorp President's Operational Excellence, the President's Operational Excellence Award. That was a huge feat for us for a number of reasons. One is I still haven't got away from my hockey roots too far. I like getting rewards for doing well, but the other part of it, and the bigger part for me, was really shed light on the people of our company. It's true, we have a flashy rig, we got an innovative rig, and it's all automated. So we're the first fully automated service rig in the world, and with our innovations, they're able to do all of these things that we spoke of. But more than that, it's allowed us to create a stable work environment, and now I can actually quantify when I say to people, like, we have the very best people in our industry working here at Prostar Energy, because we were allowed to do that because we've created a stable work environment, a safer work environment. Yeah. You get to feel good about what we're doing for the environment, yeah. And you also get to feel the sense of pride that we're creating a better opportunity for our clients to have better production. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that deal that you were just talking about, because earlier on in the inception of Prostar, you signed a huge multi-million-dollar deal with Suncorp. How did it feel when you finally signed that contract?
Well, twofold. One, it was scary, because the truth is that we were in an R&D mode. Nobody had ever built one of these rigs before. And I knew that there was a huge responsibility for us to get it right. Everybody's always looking to pick those guys off. I mean, I don't think that we do enough, not only just in Canada. I won't be a Canada naysayer. I don't think we do enough around the world in really promoting the people that take the courage, the entrepreneurs that take the courage to move forward on innovation. In the past, you look at when they were creating a light bulb, when they were creating a plane. I mean, there was some courageous people. I mean, the Wright brothers were in that thing.
Yeah, Howard Hughes trying to fly his own planes.
Sure.
Yeah,
right.
That's crazy.
So there was an air of responsibility for us to get this right. There was also an opportunity that really motivated us to come together, do the right thing with the right people for the right reasons. And when we did that, the team that I assembled here all were aligned in what we wanted to do. We wanted to create a better situation for the people that work in this industry. We wanted to create a situation that would work for our clients. Yeah. We were proud Canadians and wanted to show what our innovation would look like if we did it right. And this contract really helped forge the grounds for that environment to exist.
Yeah. Beyond that, now you're doing huge work on a world stage. Getting into the world market.
Yeah.
And doing a lot of work in the Middle East. But I find that you're creating a lot of jobs for Albertans in the long run.
Well, how we started, where we come from. One of the things is I'm very cognizant of the fact that when you grow, with growth, you can erode. So we're growing a steady pace. We have our eye on the global market, which you alluded to. We look to we know that our rig, it would be very well suited for the Middle East, and not only for the Middle East, for really the European market as well. And in that, we are very, we're going to adhere to our strict principles of we believe in respectful challenge. We challenge at all levels. My leadership style is I say this to as many people as listen. My leadership style is one that I define my success by how many people I serve and how well I serve them. Dictatorships, it's a way of the past. I mean, this generation now need to be respected for what they do.
Yeah.
I believe in the youth of our, not only our country, but the youth of the world. I believe that there's opportunities there. And I think in the past that we didn't do a very good job of listening to those people. This year, us going global is allowing us an opportunity to share the successes we've had here in Alberta, to share them on a global scale, and yet still, provide the stable work environment for us here in Alberta.
Yeah. Well, let's switch it up a little bit, because I know you come from somewhat of humble beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to know what you think in your surroundings, in your situation, in your natural habitat that made you what you are today and brought you such, hard-working work ethic.
Well, that's a good question, because when I started out, I would say as a young guy,
Yeah.
I sometimes, looked at, the fact of, where I lived or what my father did, what my mother did. My father was a construction worker. My mother worked
Concrete, right?
Yeah. Concrete for Canada Construction for years, and then a little bit on his, we poured driveways on the weekends just to facilitate me playing hockey. My mom, she was a janitor, and at times you feel like, geez, I deserve more, or you have a sense of entitlement, like you see what other people have, and you tend to look at what they have and not look at what you have yourself.
Yeah.
Fact is I never missed a meal. I grew up in a loving home. I talk to my parents, all the time. I love them to death. And the thing is what they installed in me, and what that upbringing installed in me is a hunger for wanting to do more, wanting to serve people. I don't care if I'm talking with the janitor at Synovus or Suncorp, or I'm talking with the president of the company. I talk to them the same way, and I think that the people around me and our team would back that up. They are all built that way too. It gives you a sense too of, there is a certain element in being an entrepreneur that you have to embrace risk.
Yeah.
You have to embrace risk, and you also have to embrace change. Change is part of life. How well and how quickly you can accommodate change usually will impact what level of success you have.
Just from sitting with you here for a couple minutes, I know that you have a very kind heart, and some of the stories I've heard solidify that, like you closing down Holt Renfrew to let some of your staff, go shopping. But further than that, you're big into philanthropy. Can you tell us more about a story with just the name Jax, I'll say, and maybe a little bit about what you did for him?
Well, this is the trouble. I get a lot of credit for what we did with Jax, and really it was our whole team that really banded together. It was the industry that banded together. I mean, we were dealing with a trough oil price, and I still, had the key guys from Suncorp and Imperial, Conoco, and Nexon. We had the drill and bit guys. Tri-Bit was out sponsoring that event. But you say what we did for Jax, or what I did for Jax. Really, I used the opportunity that we have here to help a deserving guy.
Yeah.
And really, I gained a lot more out of that than Jax ever did. I mean, it's funny that you bring him up right now. Their family's away right now. We sent them to Mexico
Nice.
on a vacation while we fix up their house. So what we did was we held an event at MKT, and we did we did an event that brought in people from our energy sector, brought in some athletes and friends of mine, and we raised a bunch of money so that we could get him he had a wheelchair, but it wasn't a proper one, so we got him a proper wheelchair, and we did some modifications to his house. This is a fellow that worked for the Stollery, raising money for the Stollery Hospital for 10 years. And, you know, he became in need himself, and really wasn't being funded the way that he should have been. And so it's a local guy that deserved this, and so we reached out to him and used our influence as much as we could. And sometimes I strong-armed a few people, but it worked, and it was a successful event, and we got into a position where we could really give this guy the opportunity that he deserves. Our philanthropy work really is the most rewarding things I've ever been involved with. I wish we could do more. I know we will do in the future, but you know, when you have a certain amount of success, I mean, I think that the law of authenticity would tell you that the more that you can do for your fellow man, and the more sense of genuine feeling of appreciation is not felt enough in this world. And I think that the more people that would experience that, you know, I've given when I never had it to give, and I learned that from my father. I mean, he never had it to give, and he still gives it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So now that I have the means to give, I mean, I'm certainly going to be somebody that continues down that path for sure.
Well, that's great to see, and I think more people should be like you, but sometimes you got to do stuff for yourself as well. And I see a beautiful, you know, Prostar green Lamborghini outside, and I think it's 3 in all of North America, fully custom. Can you tell us a little bit about that car, and maybe what you like to do with cars and things that you're into on the side?
Well, to tell you the truth, I took a little criticism for that car when we first bought it, because, you know, the oil price is bad, and there's people that are, you know, that are having a tough time. For me, the car is a lot more than the car itself. For me, the car, when I bought it, it was I'm a goal-orientated person, and understanding your triggers in life are huge. I think that when you understand where you're at and what motivates you, I think that you can attain goals that you've never seen before. My advice to the marketplace, to our youth, to our entrepreneurs out there that are struggling or trying to find their way, my advice to them would be create a goal. And you know what you need to do, and this is something I learned in hockey. Create a goal and then tell people about it, because it puts the stress back on you. And stress is good.
Yeah.
Just make stress your friend. You know, put that stress on you. I told people that about this car. I says, you know what, I'm gonna have that car someday. Well, when I first started out, I think there's a lot of people saying, yeah, right, you're gonna have that. I want one too. Well, but then I executed. You know, I went out there. I worked hard. I don't take days off. But you know, before people say, geez, you know, you're a victim of work, or you know, you're a workaholic. I'm not a workaholic. I love what I do. I go on holidays. I work out every day of the year. When I played hockey, a guy asked me one time, he said, well, you know, what's your favorite day to work out? I think he was talking about the day of the week, and I said Christmas. Christmas was my favorite day to work out, because I know that a lot of the guys I was competing against would take that day off.
Yeah.
So that was my edge.
Yeah.
I'll work out Christmas Day, and I work out on holidays. I feel better, and the way I work is this. I was clued into this a long time ago in my life, and I share this with as many people as possible. I think the best gift you have to give in this world is a good you. Micro breaks, or you know, you learn this from travel too. I've been in countries where they've addressed having sleeps in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
You'll find that if you sit at a desk and do 8 hours of work straight, I'd like you to take a look at the work that you created. And I would venture to say that it's far less
Yeah.
What you've come up with in that work period of 8 hours. You'd find that that's far less you being installed into that work as if you did an hour and then took a half-hour break from it or a walk away from it, come back, look at it with fresh eyes, ask somebody else, talk to somebody, go for a walk, have a workout, come back to it. Working out for me it frees my mind. Working out for me, the gym is my church. I go there to get rid of my stresses and to give the people in my life, whether it's my work or my friends or my family, it gives me the opportunity to give them the better me.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that standpoint. You said something about traveling, and I know that you're constantly traveling. You just came back from Dubai, you're going to Rome. Does that put a toll on you, and do you enjoy traveling like that?
I do enjoy it. I don't. People say, "Don't you get jet lag?" I can't wait. I'm like a kid in a candy store. I can't wait to see the next culture and see what I can draw from that. The other thing is I think that far too often people look at travel as, oh boy, I got to get over there. I got this and this and this to do. But what I've found is it's really opened my mind in relation to what I call the red balloon effect, which is something that I think that sometimes you become a zombie. You find that you're in a situation where you're looking at the world and you're saying, geez, it's the same thing. I see the same things every day, and the red balloon effect is something that I believe in, and what that means to me is that if you look for a red balloon tomorrow, if you're really cognizant of the fact that you want to see it, you will see it tomorrow. And I can prove this to people that are naysayers. Everybody that this has happened to. I could say, have you heard of Prostar Energy? Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. And you'll be driving down the road the next day and you go, oh my God, there's a Prostar Energy truck right there.
It's kind of like when you buy a new car and and then you see every car that you buy.
That is the red balloon effect.
Yeah.
Now what you need to do is, if you're cognizant of your goals, if you're cognizant of what you're looking for, you'll find it.
Yeah.
And when you go traveling, and through my extensive travel schedule, what I do find is every place I've been at, I've found something. And I'd say the predominant thing that I found is that there's good people in every country in this planet.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for it, you'll find it. Conversely, if you're looking for bad, you'll find that too.
Yeah.
So having that positive outlook and surrounding yourself with positive people. People say that. I know that it's talked about quite a bit.
Yeah, it's cliche, but it's true.
It is.
Yeah.
It absolutely is, right?
Yeah.
Recently I worked with Jelena Marinovich there, and her and Mark and their team, and some of the team here at Prostar, and some of the teams that I get to deal with our clients in Suncorp and Imperial, and you look at the positive outlooks. And you know what? You find that people want to work with you. I don't think it's ever a bad situation to say, guess what? I'm good, but could I be better? And as a matter of fact, our motto this year for the 2016 year for Prostar Energy is taking good to great. I know there's a book out there that's called that, but I really believe that we're good here, and we deserve a pat on the back, and I'm proud of our accomplishments. Could we be better? Certainly. And we will be.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about family. You guys have 2 sons together, and now you just put a zip line in your backyard. Talk about how fun, the fun aspects to being a family.
Yeah. Well, I believe that idle hands are the devil's playground, and so I have them very busy. Both of them are playing, top-notch hockey.
Yeah, they take after you. Very, very competitive boys.
Yeah, they're competitive guys. They're both, good hockey players. But I also, I don't know that I found all their passions, so I try to expose them to as many things as possible.
Yeah.
And for me, having the ability of putting a zip line in the backyard was more to having them bringing their friends over and allowed to have a little Disneyland in their backyard is keeps them there and keeps them happy. And
Let's go back to business a little bit, especially we talked about how the Alberta oil industry is a little bit lower. How do you see it in the next 5-10 years? How do you see our economy here in Alberta growing?
Yeah, you know, one thing I don't have is I don't have a crystal ball, but what I do have is I have enough experience in the energy sector to say this. Oil price in the next 10 years is going to go. It's going to go up and it's going to go down. I mean, and as we spoke about earlier, your ability to face the adversities coming, because there's also another adversity in when the market returns.
Yeah.
We're not going to have enough people, and that's going to be the next adversity, right? We know this. All we have to do is look back at the history, and history will tell us that's exactly going to be the problem that we're going to be faced with. So how well are you preparing for that now, right? So I would say that my prediction is, you know, through my travels, you know, you go to China and you see some of the highways they're building, and that's 1/3 of the world's population about to drive. I don't see them driving hybrid cars.
Yeah.
So I would say that the market's going to return, and it's not going to be a nice floating $80 oil price, which all of us would really appreciate, both the consumer and the producers. I think that we're going to be in for an inflated oil price. I think it's going to be, you know, I think in our next 10 years, we're going to look at 140, 150, could be a $200 oil price.
Wow, so now's the time to buy then.
It is,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
There's a huge opportunity for investments here in Alberta, and there's also a huge opportunity for the workforce here to start to be prepared for that.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Usually what I do at the end here is I do a little thing called rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, we'll
Sure.
just, they're kind of silly questions, fun questions. So
Sure.
just the first thing that pops into your mind. So, carrots or cake?
Cake.
Vegas or Miami?
Miami.
Vodka or rye?
Rye.
Morning or night?
Oh. Morning.
Books or movies?
Books.
Boxing or MMA?
Oh, boxing.
Gym or playing sports?
Gym.
Favorite hangout in Edmonton?
Gym.
What gym?
Good life.
Good life. Okay. What do you do on a Saturday morning?
Usually working.
Rock climb a mountain or skydive?
Rock climb.
Favorite book?
The Go-Giver.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Terry, Mr. Bendera. It was awesome. Really appreciate you taking the time
Thank
to
you
meet
so
with
much.
us. Thank you.